So, ladies and gents, I have watched Dune. This will be my review. Difficult one to really know whether to talk spoilers or not, because it's adapted from a really old book. Which I always think, like, should we talk spoilers or not with that one? But I think for those that aren't aware of, obviously, the book and things like that, we will keep as spoiler-free as possible. But there will be a spoiler section, so stay tuned for that. And obviously be warned when I give you the warning for the spoilers. So what did I think of it? Did I enjoy it? This 2.5 hour movie. Yeah, I loved it. I had a really good time with it. There is actually very few little bits and pieces that I can pick up on as major negatives from a technical aspect and, about the movie itself. And I'm going to start off with the major downside to this film. And it is a huge downside, and it's the score. This is a Hans Zimmer score. I don't know if he farmed it out to other people, but it was shocking. It was absolutely lifeless. Soulless, in fact. And when a score is so lifeless and soulless by comparison to such an epic film, because this film is epic, very grand in scope, very grand in scale, and such beautiful visuals, the score really lets it down. Actually really hinders it. It hinders those emotional pieces that should be much more impactful. So I don't know what Hans Zimmer was doing, whether he farmed it out to other people or not, but it was a bad score. That's actually the one major drawback from this whole film. Everything else was absolutely great, I think, personally. I had a really good time with this film. Like I said, it's 2.5 hours long. What's the story? Right, well, super abbreviated story here, I guess. House Atreides, there are a bunch of houses, around the galaxy ran by the Emperor. And DUNE, Arrakis, is currently under the protection, the sort of skill set, the people watching over it was the Harkonnens. They get told to leave Arrakis by the Emperor. The Emperor then instills Arrakis under the dutyship of the House Atreides. And we have Duke Leto Atreides, played by Oscar Isaacs, and his son, Paul Atreides. And basically, they go to Arrakis and they are set up by the Emperor to fail. They are set up, the Harkonnens, wreck a whole bunch of equipment. They leave things in tatters, in ruins. And the reason why Arrakis is so important to the world, or this world of Dune, is because of spice production. Spice is the means by which interstellar travel is even possible. So it's a very valuable substance. Now, the Emperor, why does he want to kill House Atreides and destroy them, wipe them out? Because he's a very jealous old man, and everyone loves the Atreides. They are peaceful, they are the sort of idealistic example of what man should be in the universe. And the Emperor doesn't want that any longer. He doesn't want anyone to look up to them, to wish that they were the Emperor. So he wants them gone. And so he sets them up on Arrakis to fail. And he sets them up basically for a war with the Harkonnens. And it's not even a war, it's a slaughter. That's the story. Now, there's a little bit more of a story there because we have the Fremen, who live on Arrakis. We can't really say they're native because they're not. They are all humans. But they live on Arrakis, and they've obviously lived there for such a long time. They've developed the means by which to be able to live there and sort of coexist in the desert. They obviously don't want anyone to live on Arrakis, to take spice, to destroy them, to get in their way, and just they want to live peacefully with the world, basically. And there is also the Bene Gesserit, which is a sisterhood of essentially witches in the Weirding Way, and they've been controlling things behind closed doors for thousands of years, shaping the universe and moulding it to their will alongside obviously what the Emperor is doing. They sort of whisper in his ear and tell him to do certain bits and pieces because they want to get the chosen one into existence. They've been nurturing and prophesizing of the chosen one, which is essentially Paul Atreides. If this sounds somewhat familiar, good versus evil, deserts, a new hope, that sort of thing, because Dune is what inspired Star Wars. Jasper knows this, I know this, it's what inspired Star Wars. So there's a brief rundown. Oh, also, a lot of people seem to be really bent out of shape. I've seen it on Twitter, that in this world where they've got interstellar travel and all these kind of things, why they don't use laser beams and bullets and things. because everyone has a personal shield, which is shield technology has developed so much now that only slow-moving objects can pierce the shield. So, quite a smart thing, to be fair. That's why everyone wields swords. There you go. Good, quick rundown. What is so good about this film? Well, they do a really good job. It is very close to the book. There are some elements that are removed, and some elements which I don't know whether they should have removed them or not, but those people that are familiar with the books will see that some things are missing. But for me, watching the film and reviewing it as a film, it doesn't impact the viewing experience that much. I think it'll only really impact those that are familiar with the books more so than anything else, and they are huge fans of the book, and they can't look past it. I think they might have a problem with it. Not massive, but they might have a problem with some of the things that are missing. It's a good adaptation. They explain a lot in a very smart and intelligent way. There are some sort of dream sequences. We've seen them in the trailer, sort of dream sequences, which starts to sort of evolve outwards, and then these events start to occur and things like that. So you can start to get the explanations, and the world builds itself out. There's not a lot of needless exposition. Everything is explained quite articulately. There's not a lot of long-winded nonsense. It's very much, this is this, cool. And your mind, the things which they've explained, your mind fills in the blanks quite nicely with it. Denis Villeneuve is a masterpiece craftsman when it comes to scale. The sense of scale on this film is unlike anything else that I've seen for a very long time. He does such a good job, and the cinematography is so good. A lot of people will have an issue with the colour palette. I'm sorry, but it's on DUNE, it's on Arrakis. The colour palette is the colour palette. It's going to be very difficult to sort of have an issue with that, taking into account the world and the universe, basically. So the colour palette is obviously lots of orange hues and things like that. Think Blade Runner 2049 when Ryan Gosling's walking through old Vegas, but toned down, because it's not that orange hues. You know, there's not that much of a colour grade on it. There's enough to imply this is the desert, this is sandy. There you go. There's lots of greys. It's quite muted, but it also is a very clear indication of the desert, desolate nature of Arrakis, and I think that's important. You need that in the film. So the sense of scale is phenomenal in this film. The cinematography is absolutely on point. Denis Villeneuve's cinematography obviously works with a certain individual, and they're always on point. They're always fantastic. The direction was perhaps the most standout here. Oscar Isaacs is not a lot of people's favourite. He delivers just a superb performance in a very believable fatherly role to Paul Atreides, and I will say it's very believable. It's a really good performance from Oscar Isaacs, and you know, it doesn't labour the point. You get it, and you're like, cool, perfect, love it, great. Gurney, played by Josh Brolin, good, fine, enjoyed it a lot. You know, it was a good performance, quite liked what he did with it, so that was great. We had the likes of Javier Bardem as Stilgar. He's not in it for very long because this is the first half of a book, so he's not in it for very long. His performance was one which I think the direction was good, but you need to see more of the performance to really get to grips with it being anything, you know, to actually know whether it's a good performance from him, I guess, and sort of, you know, that characterization. Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho. He's a bit of a red flag for me. I'm not a huge Jason Momoa fan in general, but I think he did a pretty good job, to be fair. I don't dislike his performance. I don't dislike what he brought to the table. He does bring a level of physicality which is needed as Duncan Idaho, and you know, the few lines of dialogue that he does have is delivered fine. Like, it was good direction from Denis Villeneuve, but potentially lacking in the casting department, if that makes sense. Now, Rebecca Ferguson was good as Lady Jessica. Played quite a strong, robust woman at certain moments, but then a very vulnerable woman in other moments, very emotional, and the range in this film is actually a testament to her acting ability, and I think she did a really good job. Now, other people. So, before we get to the main event, which is obviously Timothy Chalamet, Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron Harkonnen, Vladimir Harkonnen, was absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. The suit, the prosthetics, the look, the voice, it was terrifying and grotesque and disgusting. And, you know, you look at Stellan Skarsgård and you just think, you can't picture him in the role. And then they wheel him out. Or not wheel him out, but, you know, he's in the film and you're like, Jesus, what? Okay, yeah, he is the Baron, you know. You wouldn't have thought it. Good casting. Whoever did that casting deserves massive props. We also had, which is the slightly controversial element, we had Sharon Duncan Brewster, who played Leek Kynes, which was a gender and race swapped element of the film. She was fine. Fine. Nothing amazing, just fine. Sure, whatever. Played quite a reserved character, as she should be. Good. Dave Bautista as Glossu Raban, the Beast, Raban. Good. Absolutely unhinged. Just like a big man baby. Really unhinged. Loved it. Very, very good. And actually, someone I'd say is a pretty good standout in this was David Dasmalchian, who plays Peter De Vries, who's like he's in the court of the Harkonnens. I don't know, I'm not going to explain it too much, but basically he's good and actually quite a big standout. Now, the two individuals that you want to know the most about, so Zendaya, Cheney, barely in it. Not really much to sort of say, to be fair. She's in a lot of the dream sequences. I'm going to say flashbacks, but they're not, the sort of dream sequence elements. And she does a fine job. Like, she's fine, but there's not enough of her. Again, it's similar to Jason Momoa, right? Someone who's in it a reasonable amount-ish, I guess, but not enough is done to really, you know, compare and see whether the actor's very good for the role. Fine. Like, I've got nothing negative to say about it. Timothy Chalamet, right. A lot of people have a massive issue with Timothy Chalamet because they're like, he looks like a boy. He's supposed to be. He's literally supposed to be a boy in this. He is supposed to be a child. And he looks like a child. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, he suits the character in the book. But his acting was really decent in this. He runs the whole gamut of emotional spectrum. Like, genuinely very, very good. Very, very good. From sort of cocky, worried, anxious, concerned, happy, jovial, forthright, angry. Runs it all. Very, very well done. And I'm actually really looking forward to him moving forwards and taking on Paul Atreides in the second movie if it gets greenlit. Because he was good. And he deserves another chance to finish off and flesh out this character moving forwards. Now, in terms of the vehicles, the creatures and things like that, slight spoiler, but not really. No, I won't talk about it. The sandworms, basically. Let's talk about sandworms instead. The sandworms were really good. Enjoyed the sandworms. From what we see of them, I can't wait to see more. Put it that way. So from what we see, I cannot wait to see more. The technology is well established in this world. You are thrown into a world where the things that don't need to be explained are not explained, and you can just get it via osmosis. You know, you just drips in. Via osmosis, you understand a lot of this stuff. I don't like a film which just gives exposition city. This was well done. The set pieces are utterly superb. The city on Dune, Arrakis, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful set piece. I can't wait to see what they do in the future with this universe. I hope they keep going with it. I hope this movie makes fucking just insane money, because it deserves it. It's a good movie. Aside from that garbage score, and the thing, like, there was even bagpipe music at like a certain moment, both in the film, in universe, someone literally playing bagpipes, but then also as part of a score. Hans Zimmer for this just completely dropped the ball. Bad score. You could have got someone much, much better for this. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know who approved it. A lot of these things get given over at last minute. Yeah, no, not good. Not good. Wasn't a good score. So shame. Shame on Hans Zimmer. So, can I recommend this film? Absolutely I can. 100% can recommend this film. There are some brutal moments in this. Some really, really good blood effects. Actually, very, very good blood effects. I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops and moves forward. I really am. I think this is a good introduction to the world. So, spoilers. Also, let me know what you think down below if you've seen it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. So I can recommend it, but I will say this. I recommend it under the caveat that although it's an epic film, it's not epic in the sense that you're watching epic fights take place. There are epic fights, but it's not this big epic action piece, right? Because I think a lot of people going into this are expecting just out-and-out action, balls to the wall. And it's not. It's a slow, gentle character piece with action thrown in that is epic. Hopefully that explains it a little bit more. I don't know if it will, but maybe. Now, let's talk spoilers. Talk spoilers. And just personally, little bits and pieces. Like, let's start with where it ends. So, full spoiler warning, full spoilers. This film ends as Paul and Lady Jessica meet up with Stilgar and join the Fremen. And that is an interesting point to stop, because there's still a lot more to go, and I don't know what they're going to do into the next one, how they're going to fit it all in. It almost feels like this will be like a 3-part, film, like a trilogy of the book. So I don't know really. That was quite interesting. Yeah, quite interesting. We don't see the navigators, which I thought was really shit, actually. I think that's a massive shame that we didn't see any of the navigators. I was really looking forward to seeing them, because I just thought that would be just fascinating to see how they're shown. We do see some weird little like spider-human crossbreed thing that the Harkonnens have made. You don't see its face or anything like that, but it's just eating something on the floor and then it sort of wanders off. I don't know what it's called in universe. But that was... Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing some more beasties. I mean, what can I spoil about a film that's from a book? I don't know. I never understand why people get so butthurt over, a film which is adapted from a book that's been out for years. Like, I can't really spoil it. There's not much to spoil. Just suffice to say, it was good. It was a decent film. I had a really good time with it. So yeah, it's not like an out-and-out action piece. It's epic in scale and sort of scope. But I do think some people will be a bit let down by it, because I think maybe some of the trailers painted it to be this sort of big warring epic, and they won't get that. They won't get that, and I think as a result, they may be quite disappointed. But we'll see. We will see how it sort of transpires and moves forward. Again, there's nothing really else to say, to be fair. Like, again, Stilgar, interesting character, played by Javier Bardem. I'm intrigued to see where that goes further with him behind it as an actor. Do I think that this will make money? I hope so. But I think it's going to struggle, because they've had the HBO Max leak. It's been released halfway around the world for a good couple of weeks now. Now it's only just going to be starting releasing in the major markets. I think it will struggle, but it does have a China release, which will give it a massive boost. The Bene Gesserit were good, actually, though. Speaking of China and their disdain for women, the Bene Gesserit were good. Watching them do the voice and things like that, I like that. I like that. It was decent. It was really well done. It's a well put together film. But I feel like some people will be... Oh, it's lacking. It's not living up to the hype, because it's been such a long time. They've been waiting for it for so long. I think they'll feel like it lacks. It doesn't build up to the hype that they had sort of expected, basically. So, there you go. Spoiler, I feel, is more of a discussion between people, just to sort of talk about it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please do leave them down below. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You can turn bell notifications on and do all that good stuff. Hit like, share the video, all that good stuff. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.